So now I want to try to conserve and only use one instance of Kontakt, but have several tracks pointing to the different MIDI channels in Kontakt. Every single sequencer is going to handle that differently, but the concept is sound. You have one instance, and inside that instance, 4 different instruments loaded up, each one of them waiting to accept MIDI data from its own discrete MIDI channel. Then, in your sequencer, rather than having 4 separate instances of Kontakt, you have 4 separate tracks that are just MIDI pointing to that one instance of Kontakt, and each one of those MIDI tracks is broadcasting on a different channel. Let's take a look at how to do that in Logic. So I'm going to make one track, but I'm going to make it multi-timbral with 4 parts. I'll press Create. So I see these 4 tracks, but the cool thing is that they are routed to the same instrument. If I look at the channel, they're routed to instrument 1, and they're routed to MIDI channel 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if I go to this top one, and I instantiate an instance of Kontakt. Let's find it. There we go. I will now set up inside Kontakt the 4 different instruments. I'll open up Session Horns Pro. We'll have a bass trombone on channel 1. And the great thing about Kontakt is it automatically, as I add the next instrument, we'll add a tenor sax, it's going to put that one on MIDI channel 2. See, this one's going to MIDI channel A1. If I scroll down, this tenor sax is transmitting, or it's listening, on MIDI channel 2. We'll add the flugelhorn next. No brass section is complete without one. There we go, MIDI channel 3. And then finally we'll add a muted trumpet. It's not necessarily a great section, but definitely 4 instruments that sound very different from each other so we can identify them. There we go, muted trumpet on 4. So we'll close that, and now if I look at this track right here and I record here, I've got my bass trombone. If I go down to this track, my tenor sax, here's the flugel, and then finally my muted trumpet. Well, that's great. It saves a bit of resources. These 4 tracks are simply MIDI. If I record on my bass trombone, nice pretty sound. Quantize that. And I can record now on this track to my tenor sax. And then we can add our flugelhorn. And keep in mind, they're all routed to that same one instance of Kontakt. And then finally, we'll add this somewhat annoying sounding muted trumpet. And there we go, this nice little beginnings of a brass quartet, and I've only needed to use one single instance of Kontakt. I don't have to go in and tweak everything. If I want to get in there and change things about it, any changes I make in the instance of Kontakt will go and be reflected across all of the tracks because they're all routed to that one instance. It's a pretty great and convenient way to work when you're scoring.